Shot in the dick. Shot in the dick. As we speak, scientists are landing on a comet, drilling and planting a bomb so that it would miss the Earth.
Yes, yes.
Is
That's how we science.
Did we get it? Did I get that?
I think
they're landing personally on the thing.
Yes.
I think Neil deGrasse Tyson himself is on there narrating the whole process.
All the scientists in the world.
Stephen Hawking.
Yeah, they're all there preventing destruction.
Yeah, and
saving the species.
Yeah, what is actually happening?
As I understand it, the European Space Agency, I think it's called, launched 10 years ago the Rosetta and Philae lander to intercept a comet.
Philander, okay.
Yes, the Philanderer.
Okay.
To intercept the comet, I can't remember the comet's name, to gather samples. And the hope is that they will find information of like, besides more information about comets, the origin of life on Earth basically is the... No. Origin of life on Earth basically is the ultimate goal. They're hoping to find the spark that starts evolution.
The all spark.
So yeah, they're hoping...
Okay.
They're hoping that the idea of interplanetary seeding, that life on Earth was seeded from comets.
Okay.
They're hoping that might be the ultimate answer.
So some stuff on the comets would, match whatever they were looking for.
Yes, the
and
most
would
primitive form
the
of
secret
life.
ingredient.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. And is it still ongoing?
It's ongoing as of right now. It's November 11th, Wednesday. Philippine time. It's expected the lander has
November 12th
detached.
Here.
Is it 12 today?
Yep.
Yes, the lander has detached, and right now it's descending onto the comet, and the expectation is by 12 midnight. Our time, it should land. So by the time you watch this, probably it has landed or the landing has failed.
And there will be, of course, replays on YouTube, on Twitch, and...
probably none in Philippine media. I don't know.
Yeah, wherever. And it's interesting because it coincides with the showing of Interstellar.
Awesome movie.
Awesome movie. He didn't think it was awesome. He thought Big Hero 6 was better.
Awesome. I preferred Big Hero 6.
Oh, see? Okay.
Interstellar did not have cats. Okay.
Well.
Okay, so, but anyway, I think it was a great movie and everyone should see it. We won't spoil you, but it has to do with space. So there you go. And
Spoiler alert.
And the role of space exploration is actually a prominent part of the movie. So that's what we're going to talk about. So I'm not going to say whether this is or is not involved in the plot of the movie, but funding NASA. So it took some money to send Rosetta, Philander into that comet and try to verify the theory of, where did life come from?
Yeah.
And what is the ultimate point? Is it just academic, or will that have some practical uses, like knowing where life come from? Like, will we start life?
It's always been. I think it's always been a goal of a lot of space science we have now is to find life elsewhere. Yeah. So recently, long before it was like we started explorations on Mars, and then we just the most recent NASA achievement I think was impacting the moon, looking for water, and they did find water, and they were looking for any signs of life. So there's none on the moon, right? So they're just looking everywhere.
Okay.
And now it's just the most recent target was Rosetta.
So
the comet.
The answer to the question, where did we come from? Nakakain ba yan? Like, can you eat that? Can it feed the billions and billions?
Yeah, here's the thing about like scientific endeavors. You never know what you can get from them, right?
Yeah.
Right.
History has shown us that so many technological advancements have been made due to accidental scientific discoveries.
Yeah.
Because of these.
Or things like the same way that developing weapons will have practical use sometimes, but like space exploration also has a lot of things. And the oft-mentioned MRI machine.
Fisher Space Pen. And
it's not even true. It's not
That's
even.
just,
It's the only pen that works in space.
No. It's not. It's not that it's the only. I mean, they could use pencils, but
it was a specific
tips could break off and it would interfere with whatever.
Okay, so this special pen that only works.
And also the nice bed with a memory foam that came from NASA as well. So lots of good being done by that memory foam bed. But seriously though, NASA could be given more money than it's already receiving.
Yeah, a lot of people also are saying that NASA gets too much money, but as Neil deGrasse Tyson often says, like it's really, really much smaller than people expect.
Yes.
Yeah. People expect like in the tens of percent of the national budget of the US, but it's actually like really, really small.
And if it were up to me, I would defund like weapons development and the money invested in wars and all that.
Right.
Well, like the most recent episode, for example, of Last Week Tonight. Discussed lotteries in the States.
Love that show, Last Week Tonight.
It's a really great show. I
John Oliver.
Watching it.
That was our season ender.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Okay.
And like, I was surprised at how much money was being spent on lotteries, and like this could be used somewhere else.
An interesting dilemma could be made, about whether we should invest money and resources on space exploration, like, for the purpose of maybe finding another suitable planet because this planet isn't getting any better. We aren't getting any fewer.
Yeah.
And the resources aren't just enough to support the projected size of the population in a few decades or so. So, things could get bad, and a lot of people are saying we should be looking for a new planet. But the question is, would those resources better be spent making the lives of the people here better, fewer people dying of hunger, of diseases, of poverty, basically, instead of, focusing on the survival of the species. Like, is there inherent value in humanity surviving when it means, you'll be sacrificing people who are currently already alive and suffering? Like, I think a lot of them are just treated as collateral damage.
Yeah.
If the entire species survives, so what if so many people are already hungry and dying? And it's because it's these people who are marginalized. They don't really have a voice on what to say. It's usually people who are educated, who know the value of space exploration and the discoveries that go along with that. But the problem is, they're in a position of privilege, so they can't really tell.
Yeah, they're not the ones starving or dying of disease.
Yeah, so, how do you reconcile that? Of course, you could argue that you don't have to just, they don't have to be mutually exclusive.
Yeah.
You could pursue both, but still, I remember
the proportions.
Yeah, I remember a discussion we once had. I think it was during the Occupy for RH thing, where we asked, these are the smartest people on Earth, I think. It could be argued that the people working for NASA are some of the smartest people on Earth. And if they used their collective brain capacity to, say, solve
world hunger,
solve poverty, solve all of the problems of the world, it could be argued that they would be very effective at it. If the problem were, say, something like a comet, that's hurtling towards the Earth,
landing on the planet, landing on the comet for like in a 10-year trip. That's really it's really.
Let's say that there's imminent danger, and that would convince everyone to just focus their resources on that, science and technology, all focused on that very problem. I think that's the way to go. Like, get all of the smartest minds to solve the problem, because if you don't solve the problem, any other pursuit would be meaningless, right? The problem is, like, world hunger doesn't really have a ticking time bomb attached to it.
It's a very slow and continuous thing that actually people have gotten desensitized.
5 seconds.
Yeah.
A kid died of hunger.
Yeah.
Another 5 seconds, another one died. And we're no closer to the end of the world.
I think the problem is not actually the intelligence of the people. It's actually the power, because they might be the smartest people on Earth, but they don't have power over the resources that are needed to solve this particular problem. So, for example, a lot of really smart people are actually trying to solve world problem, and one of the richest, Bill Gates, is trying to solve the world hunger and disease problem.
Yeah.
But the power that these people have is very limited. Like, you cannot sway popular opinion towards this thing. As difficult as it is to work out the math is actually very doable. So you can land in a comet, but the effort it needs, the popular opinion it needs, and the power needed to do that is actually much less than needed to solve world hunger, which is why we're able to do that. So even if you removed all the resources, I think, of NASA, including the mental resources of NASA, and tried to allocate that to solving world hunger, the power will still not be there.
Yeah, the political will.
Popular,
the
popular,
changes needed. Because a lot of people argue that we do have enough resources to solve the problem of hunger. Yeah. It's just that maybe a lot of people in power want people to stay poor.
It was the technical capacity is definitely there.
Yeah.
Like I'm a strong advocate of post-scarcity economics, and I really think that we it's time to start thinking about just giving to people the things they need, because we really can. We have the technology, we have the resources. But the problem there is, for one thing, there's a stigma against just giving or receiving for free without any
dole outs and
and so on.
That whole socialism association with it.
Yeah. And there's also, like, you think that people are going to get spoiled or so on.
Dependent and stuff.
We really should be giving more scientific feedback to the government. For example, policies, especially in this country, are not generally guided by research.
By science in any way.
Yeah. The most helpful thing I can think of with regards to solving world hunger and so on is a strong collaboration between the academe and policymakers. Not even also the enforcers. Making sure that the science that is generated in the academe does not go to waste. Because they could be accumulating all this knowledge, like, hey, we know what makes people tick. Hey, we know what motivates people. Hey, we know that we have enough food. We know how to make surplus for everything. And like, we know all this stuff. But the people with the power, with the infrastructure to actually put this knowledge into
practical
use are not listening. They don't really care. They're just making laws out of thin air. Like, maybe this will work. Maybe this will work. But look, there's a lot of knowledge that we know would work. We have a lot of evidence would work.
A lot of things are working against solutions to the problems that affect most of the population, right? That is the comet. That is the comet. That is the problem. That is the thing that you have to solve. So the smartest NASA scientists or personnel, like,
these aren't even NASA landing in the comet, by the way. It's the European Space Agency.
Yes.
No.
It's
different.
But
yeah.
But these
when we say NASA, we need.
Oh, that's so sad. NASA doesn't
Western.
even have so much power now. This is kind of sad that they're just bystanders now.
Europeans are actually better at science, so I think.
They have CERN.
They have CERN, but anyway, like the smartest people on Earth, if they treat this condition as the comet, as that world-ending phenomenon, right? Then they can treat that as a problem and work around it. Okay, like so many powerful people do not want to liberate poor people by giving them all of the resources they need to just survive. There is an argument that governments want to keep their people poor so that they would work.
Yeah.
And that's I think a vestige of after the war, and then for rebuilding you need people to keep working so that the economy would get better and so on. And in a post-scarcity situation or society, like, why would people?
Government is strongly diminished.
Yeah. So that is the problem that the smartest people on Earth have to solve, because these selfish people will not change so easily, right? So how do they do it? Like, let's say, create a machine that converts whatever into food, or the ability to download food or an equivalent. It hasn't been tried yet.
What do you mean the food thing? Downloading food.
I mean, no.
You wouldn't download.
I mean, so many smart people working on a solution to scarcity.
Actually, I don't think it's never been done. For example, a lot of GMOs were created for solving that problem, making crops grow in places that would normally be inhospitable to them, right? So there's that. There's also development of technology that they're trying to deploy in different places. So it's not they might not be the astrophysicists working on this problem.
Yeah.
But they have their own specialists. And what charities, I'm not sure, organizations, foundations like Bill and Melinda Gates Foundations is trying to do is to get the money necessary to pull the smartest minds towards solving this problem. So, and if you follow Bill Gates' annual reports, like they're really nice, they're really optimistic because he wants to convince the world that things are actually getting so much better than you think. People are working on it, and things are getting so much better. And I don't think an addition of 1 or 2 astrophysicists or the entire ESA or NASA would make that much of a difference. Maybe it might be a too many cooks a problem.
Yeah.
So it's just
too many cooks. Okay.
Bill Gates is putting as much power as he can into the smartest minds to get them to work around the problem of the lack of political will.
And there's another organization, Open Source Ecology, that I think is working in the right direction. In particular, because they're very aware of the politics of production and distribution. That they want to make distribution and production democratized. They want everyone to have the capacity to build the things that they need.
It's pretty often that you hear stories of food being burned or whatever resources, the donations to Tacloban were being, or
just misappropriated or just hoarded and then so they rot.
Yeah. So even just the wastage, like the food that's thrown away, especially in
restaurants
first world countries.
Even here.
Here is also
even here.
Even here is.
And here you see actually a lot. They sort of work on the sides, are away from or around the politicians you hear so much about. There are lots of groups that are trying to implement things to help the victims, for example, of the typhoon, right? So there are companies that try to use drones to survey the land, to look for. So it's science and technology in action around the inefficient government.
So yeah, that's a good way of showing how science does have practical solutions. Where at first, you set out to do something, and then you make discoveries or inventions that are used for something else.
Yeah, it's the same with like doing mathematical research. Like a lot of mathematicians, they just make models. Like, what if I make a model that acts like this? These are the axioms. Like, that's an interesting system. And many years later, they find something in the real world that hey, this matches this model, and then they can actually use that for making predictions.
And they see something, theory. And then it's gravity. I mean, they solved 9.8 meters per second. It's gravity. So back to the topic of space exploration and Interstellar and Rosetta. Like, what are the good movies that everyone should? Let's end this at a very light note because we were talking about very heavy stuff. So, the most recent other one was Gravity, of course. Gravity was pretty good too. I think it's a different kind of experience.
Definitely.
Not as much.
It's half as long or less than I think.
Yeah, it was pretty short. I mean, definitely compared to Interstellar, anything would be shorter.
Yeah, I guess.
2001: Space Odyssey is what people have been calling the proto-Interstellar.
I think I've seen that.
It's an old movie, and
a lot of people say that Interstellar has a lot of nods to that particular film.
I saw some descriptions, but I don't know about.
So you should check that out as well. Anyway, Interstellar was good despite the flaws, despite whatever.
I love the robots, though.
I love the robots.
Yeah, what's the name of the
Stars, Case, and
you just have to watch it, and then we will discuss that movie and space exploration at the next meetup, which is happening next weekend. Not this weekend, not tomorrow or on Sunday, but next weekend. And we will also discuss whatever is on our podcast next Wednesday. And of course, you know the drill. Like, comment, share,
subscribe,
watch Interstellar, and see you next time.